Joanne, lovely to see you here. Welcome to today's live stream. I hope you're all well. What have you been up to? How's your day been? What have you been working on today? Is it morning? Is it evening? Where you are in the world? Lovely to hear from where you're watching from. Yeah, today here we've been in the studio all day. I've been working on some conservation work, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in the live stream as we wait for people to join us. Kate, sorry I missed last week. How was it? It was great. We had technical issues with uploading the live stream as usual. We are still in early days when it comes to the technical aspect of this live stream, so we couldn't actually get the live stream to replay. So I think what I might do is do that kind of topic again, because it was a topic that is quite a juicy, meaty topic. It's all about lead lines and how to create lead line designs. So we'll rerun that again at another time on the live stream, because I think it's really it's a really good topic, especially if you're new to stained glass, learning how to design for stained glass, where to put lead lines in, you know, where to kind of divide your design up. Those kind of things are, I think a lot of people struggle with, because it seems like it's a big kind of technical challenge. And there are a few principles to bear in mind. And when you kind of understand the principles, and I'll go through it again on a future live stream, when you understand the principles of designing for stained glass, it becomes one of the most enjoyable parts of it. In fact, what I do when I'm designing stained glass windows is usually do the lead line work first before I do any color. So yeah, it was a good live stream last week, Kate. I'm sorry you missed it. But yeah, we'll do that topic again, and we'll try and make sure the gremlins disappear from the live stream. We're still working out the strategies for doing this live stream. Most of the time I'll be doing it as we are here today, so it's vertical, and I've got a second camera where I can actually show you some demonstrations, and we'll be doing that a little bit later on in the stream today. But what I also want to be able to do is bring guests onto the live stream. So we did have, after a lot of fun and games, we managed to get Petri Anderson onto the live stream. We had a real issue technically with getting him on there. I think what happened, and it's my fault, user error, and I put my hand up, is that I started the live stream, the scheduled live stream, on time, and then stopped it, thinking that I could come back into the live stream. But what happened was I lost my slot. I lost my ability to come back into that same live stream again. So what was happening is people, like 30 or 40 people, were sitting waiting on the live stream to start, and I couldn't get back into it myself. So we ended up starting a new live stream. You live and learn. You live and learn. I'm kind of new to all this stuff, you know. So hello, Susanna FP. Hi, Susanna. Wonderful that you're here today. You are a channel member, and it is wonderful that you're with us today. My fans are. My channel members, I should say, I don't like the word fans, I mean channel members, are joining along with everyone else. So Kate is here, Suzanne is here, Julie Gritton, hello to everyone, hope you're all well. Julie, wonderful that you're here today. Skip Velasquez, hello everyone, looking forward to today's live stream. Hello Skip, it's great you're here. Jill Popple, Jill, wonderful that you're on the stream today as well. Sheikh, sorry, I do apologize if I'm getting your surname wrong. I really do apologize to everybody whose names I mispronounce. Hi, good evening. Good evening to you too. Wonderful that you're here. EFO, good evening from rainy Argyle. It has been raining here as well today, and I went outside earlier on this evening, just before sort of setting up the live stream, to discover outside was absolutely full of wasps. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, let's hope I don't have a wasp's nest in the studio. You know, we've had problems with bees and wasps in the main house. Our house is next to the studio, and over the last 20 odd years, 25 years that we've been living here, we've had bees nesting in the chimney and nesting in the brickwork and all the rest of it. Bees are okay, wasps I don't like. So there was a horde of wasps buzzing around outside the studio. So all my windows have remained closed today. I'm hoping they move on, but who knows. So the rain seemed to have brought them all to the studio, looking for an entrance point. I've also got bats in in the roof space, so maybe the bats are going to eat the wasps. I don't know. It's a proper menagerie here. I've got like wildlife living all over this studio, not to mention the size of the spiders we have as well. Gail Stewart says hi. Hello Gail, wonderful that you're on the stream. Thank you so much for joining us today. Penny Mason, good afternoon from Michigan. Good afternoon, Penny. How is Michigan for you? What's your day been like? What have you been up to today? Martina Buzi, hello from Germany. Hello, Martina. It is wonderful that you're here joining the channel tonight in chat. Mary Kwambi, hi. Missed last week. Was definitely looking forward to lead lines, as I love a good lead line. Yes, Mary, I'm going to rerun that live stream again because it is a really useful topic. And we, as I say, had problems in trying to upload the final kind of recorded version. It went out live, but then we couldn't kind of re-access it. So I'm going to do another live stream on that because it's a really nice topic. You know, learning about lead lines, learning how to design stained glass. I understand that many of you who are following me are new to stained glass, and that is fantastic. I'm designing the channel for people to come into the world of stained glass who haven't been involved in the world of stained glass before. So not knowing about lead lines is fantastic. Not knowing how to cut glass, not knowing color theory, not knowing the history of stained glass, not knowing who the big artists are and all the rest of it. All of those areas, not knowing is great. You've come to the right place. My job really is to try and help you into this wonderful world of stained glass, to introduce you to the world of stained glass. And I can go into deep dives, and I can start at beginner levels. I can work on different levels for the different needs of everybody who is joining the channel and being part of the channel. And if you have joined my channel as a paid member, I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really means the world to me. As you know, I'm leaning much more into doing teaching, intuition, and YouTube work and social media work as a way of reaching that next generation of creatives out there. So the fact that you're supporting me by contributing monthly towards the channel really does help me spend more time doing research and development. And there's one area that I want to talk about tonight that I'm doing my latest video on, and I've spent quite a few days researching it because it's a wonderfully juicy topic. I'll get into that in a minute. I'm just going to say hello to a few more people. Ellie is joining. Evening all. Ellie, it's wonderful that you're here. Errol Holt, hi from Winchester. Hello, Errol. Britt Elliott, yes. Errol and Ellie and Rachel Atkinson, hi from the Wirral. Hello, Rachel. It's great that you're with us tonight. Bats and spiders are great little creatures, says Julie. Yeah, they are. They're fantastic. I mean, we had one live bat running around, flying in the studio one day when I came in. I just had to be a little bit wary because obviously they do potentially carry rabies, so you don't want to get bitten by them. But yeah, in the hot weather, you can hear them scratching around. It must get really hot in the attic space, but they come out at night and they fly around the garden, and yeah, it's great. It's great. Tegan Lee says, hi from Northern California. Tegan, it is wonderful that you're here today. Wonderful that you're joining us. We've been talking via email, Tegan, and it is great that you're here. What have you been up to today? How's your day working out? Do let me know, chat, how your day's been. If your day is just beginning, if you're waking up to the start of a day, what have you got planned for today? Or if it's the evening time, if you're in Europe, you're an hour ahead of us in Germany, or here in the UK, how's your day been? What have you been up to? It's always great to hear from you. Let me know what you're doing. I'll tell you what I've been up to as well in a second. Kate says, Derek, quick question regarding dipping pen ink mix. Okay, Kate, the question is, I mixed up some yesterday so it could rest for 24 hours as suggested, but I think I added too much oil. Can I thicken it back with paint powder? Of course you can, Kate. It is a movable feast. Too much oil, add a little bit more powder. Grind the powder down, add it to your mixture, mix it in well, and leave it for another 24 hours. There's quite a lot of finessing to be done with the dipping pen ink mixture. Very rarely you'll get it right straight off the bat. I do give out various kind of proportions as a guide, but I'm well aware that everyone is slightly different in how much they reckon they're putting into their little jars. So, you know, allow yourself 2 or 3 days of tinkering and fiddling and finessing to get the mixture just right. So if it is too oily, a sign of that will be that the line that you draw with your dipping pen starts to dissipate. It doesn't hold its shape. You may get a nice dark line to start with, and then you come back to it a few moments later and the line is starting to spread across the glass. That's an indication that there's maybe a little bit too much oil in the mixture. What also happens is the pigment can separate out, and so you get, rather than a strong black line, you get a sort of weedly little line in the center with kind of oil on either side. That's an indication that it is too oily. Add a little bit more of your chosen pigment to that, whether it's black or brown or green or reds. You can use enamels, you can use silver stains. You know, experiment with lots of different mediums. Make up small jars. I mean, obviously don't use a lot of your medium as you do it. But to answer your question, Kate, yeah, it's perfectly normal to have added a little bit too much oil. Just add a little dash more of pigment to that mixture, mix it up, leave it for another 24 hours and try again. Eventually, you'll get to that magic mixture. You'll get to that mixture that really works well. Again, remember, as you're using your ink, to agitate it and mix it up every 15 minutes or so. Just get into the habit of doing it. I see lots of students who I'm sort of teaching on my masterclasses getting so absorbed with working with the dipping pen, because you can get really detailed, that they kind of forget to keep mixing it up and keep agitating it. And the ink slowly gets more and more oily, because what happens is the pigment is heavier than the oil. So the pigment, which is basically metal paint, metal, you know, iron oxide, sinks to the bottom of the mixture and you just get oil at the top, and it progressively becomes more oily. So keep mixing it up as you go along. That is one of the keys to kind of remember, is to constantly be agitating every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes your mixture, so that you get it to be well mixed in and at its best for you. Ellie Casterman says, look for an empty wasp's nest and hang it around your house. Wasps won't come close to nests of other wasps. Is that right, Ellie? Thank you for that tip. Yeah, I don't see many empty wasps' nests around. We did have one in one of our garages, one of our outbuildings, but it was a little dinky thing, this kind of a size. I haven't really seen many wasps' nests around. Not a big fan of wasps. Wasps tend to like me a little too much. When we're out in the garden having an evening meal, they kind of come after me more than anyone else in the family. So I don't know, maybe I've got waspy pheromones, I have no idea. But yeah, they're not my favorite creatures, I must say. Merlock1 says, well, I once met you in Germany when you were at Peter's studio. Finally, I managed to see your live stream. Merlock1, fantastic. We met in Germany at Peter's studio. Fantastic. Did you enjoy your experience at Peter's studio? I thoroughly enjoy my time at the European studios, whether it's Derek's studio or Peter's studio. They are wizards in Germany. They are so clever and so good at making stained glass windows and interpreting artist designs. It's just a wonderful experience. How was it for you, Merlock1? Did you enjoy the experience? Just remind me what you were doing so I can hopefully remember our conversations. Lee Daniels says, evening, Derek. Hope you're doing okay. I'm doing great, Lee. How are you doing? I've had a good day, a busy day. I'm working on a conservation project at the moment, which I'll tell you a little bit about. And I'm making a video about it. So, again, I wanted to thank my channel members for their financial support and helping me to run this channel. It buys me little bits of time to do research. And what I'm researching on at the moment is a thing called green glass disease. Have you ever heard of it? Green glass disease is a thing. Does glass get diseases? Well, yes, it does. It's not really a disease, but it's called green glass disease. It's a form of devitrification. Devitrification I've been looking into is, obviously, if you're doing fused glass and slumped glass, you'll be much more familiar with devitrification. Devitrification is a term which describes the breakdown of the structure of glass. When something becomes vitrified, it is turned to glass. And when the constituent ingredients of glass become glass, they vitrify. So soda, lime, ash, potash, sand, silica, that kind of thing. So devitrification is the opposite of that. It starts to degenerate, it starts to decay, and it manifests itself in different ways. So if you're doing slumped glass and fused glass, you may see a haze appearing on the glass surface. You may see a discoloration. But in the world of stained glass, we don't really heat the glass up to that level to create devitrification. You can get it with enamels. I'll talk a little bit about that later. But this particular form of devitrification in the world of stained glass is reserved for a couple of colors. And the colors are principally green, but also purple. So for a long time, it's been called green glass disease. And it looks a little bit like a spider's web, a disintegration of green glass. And I'm putting this video together, which hopefully will come out this Sunday, showing you the projects that I'm working on. They're behind me just now on the light table. Some Victorian stained glass windows. And it's very common for a certain period in time in Victorian stained glass windows to have the glass devitrify and crumble. And it actually almost turns back to a sugar. It's the weirdest and most bizarre thing. And I've been filming it up close. Holes in the window, basically where there's purple glass or green glass, where the glass has crumbled and turned back to a dust, and you can literally poke your finger through the glass. It's the strangest thing. When I first saw it, I wasn't really sure what it was, but it is called green glass disease. There's various papers written on it. One of the papers is an online magazine, is in the online magazine Vidimus. Now, Vidimus is a free online magazine, again, which I thoroughly recommend you to join if you can. It's free to join, and it is an online magazine all about stained glass and all about the conservation of stained glass. And there's one particular paper written by a York Glaziers Trust author back in 2016, I believe it is, talking about green glass disease. And it is really a chemical imbalance in the glass. What happens is that the glass changes states over a period of time. It begins by, and I have not seen this myself, but the article refers to it as the first indications of green glass disease are the glass begins to sweat. Can you believe that? Yeah, that's what the article says. It begins to sweat, so you get little beads of liquid developing on the glass surface, and that over a period of time translates into spider web of cracks and fractures which run all the way through a single piece of glass. You imagine a little piece of green glass that's maybe painted and stained. It starts to create all of these fragments and fractures, and it slowly crystallizes and becomes more brittle, to the point where it actually starts to fall out. And so the glass, whether it's green glass or purple glass, begins to fall completely out. And the problem is, there isn't really a way to reverse that process, but they're looking into ways, the conservation community are looking into ways of stabilizing the pigment, stabilizing the glass. One of the ways is to put various types of varnishes on, like paraloid, various other varnishes which you can paint onto the glass, which almost act as a varnish and hold the fragments together. Because traditionally what has happened is when the glass starts to develop this green glass disease, it falls out, or it begins to fall out, and so studios are left with no option but to take the remaining fragments of glass out and replace them with new glass. The problem is when that green glass disease is advanced, it turns the glass opaque. You can't actually see what the original design was, so it's very difficult to replace it and reproduce it. So I'm working on this conservation project just now, and I'm making a video about it. Green glass disease, or devitrification. It's a fascinating topic. When you actually look into the mechanics of glass, it is the most wonderful material. Lots of people say, oh, is it a solid? Is it a liquid? It actually sits somewhere between the two. It's called an amorphous solid. Amorphous means shapeless and without structure. Normally solids have a lattice work of molecules lined up in a grid formation as a structure. That's how most solids function. But glass is allowed to cool quickly from a liquid where all the molecules are just moving about randomly, to solidify quickly through the ingenious invention of glass blowers and glass makers who are able to solidify this liquid without it forming a latex or a lattice work of molecules in a regular format, in a regular formation. There's the molecules are still randomly set together but held in place. That's called an amorphous solid. There are a number of amorphous solids around. It's not just glass. Rubber, tire rubber that's made for tires is an amorphous solid. Gel is an amorphous solid. There are a number of products which are halfway between a solid and halfway between a liquid. Compacted sand has the feeling of a solid object, but it is actually an amorphous solid as well. It's a fascinating area. So I'm putting this video together, which hopefully will be out this weekend. Have a look out for it. I'm still working through what the title should be, but it's going to be something around the lines of, did you know that glass can have a disease? Or I don't know what, but getting that thumbnail sorted out, it's really a funny thing when you're doing YouTube work, because getting your thumbnail right and getting the name of the video right, what the title is really important in terms of getting eyes on the video. So that is coming further down the line, a video on green glass disease. Tegan says, I'm going to mix up some paint today with Deborah Coombs' recipe using propylene glycol. Then I'll have to wait a whole week for it to slake. Yeah, how are you getting on, Tegan, with that propylene glycol mix? I have used Deborah's recipe. Deborah, of course, created this propylene glycol material to use with paint, and I've seen a number of videos and I've followed her recipe, and it's amazing. It's a great recipe. My particular preference, though, is to use clove oil and lavender oil. But how are you getting on, Tegan? Have you used it before? Have you tried propylene glycol mixture, or are you trying it for the first time? Ride Forth Singing says, doing some glass powder painting while watching. Are you indeed? Glass powder painting. Well, we're going to get on to some painting in a second. Just saying hello to some more people here, but we're going to continue with our Art Nouveau head, which we've been working periodically over the last few weeks. I've added more to it, so we'll get onto that in a second. Let me just say hello to a few more people, and then we're going to run a video showing you what I've painted up so far, and then we're going to go on to what we're working on today. Merlock1 says, actually, I worked at Peter's studio and we had a little conversation about your work. I am specialized in slumping, so it's a different kind of work with glass. Is it indeed? Well, it is wonderful, Merlock. You're one of the wizards at Peter's studio. I'm so impressed with the European studios because they continue to invest in research and development of glass. And if they can't reproduce an artist's work with the techniques that they have at hand, they invent new techniques. You're always developing new techniques, and that's what I love about the European studios, is the willingness to take risks and to try new methods of working. So congratulations, Merlock, on working at Peter's studios. It is a fantastic place to work. Skip Velasquez says, wow, I've run into that powdering old glass on one occasion, had no idea what was happening. Figured someone spilt something caustic on it. Yeah, exactly. Well, it is green glass disease. What it is actually is it's a lack of alkalines, which are stabilizers in the glass mix. So basically, it's a sort of a lime potash that is added during the mixture process. So the Victorians were experimenting with different colors, not knowing that some of the colors would be unstable. So the purples and the greens were unstable due to a lack of alkalines in the mixture, which was stabilizing the compound together. So this amorphous solid, which is glass, was beginning to degenerate. More information on its way about that. It's a fascinating topic. Tegan says, what sort of time period does this sweating and crumbling happen over? Great question, Tegan. I don't know. I've not actually witnessed the sweating of the glass, but I have witnessed the kind of advanced stages of the devitrification of the glass. The term that's often used rather than green glass disease it's called crizzling. 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 It's not a phrase, it's not a term that I'm particularly fond of, but that describes the effect. You imagine it's kind of lots of little fine granules of glass that you can actually crumble in your hand. And I take some pieces of glass out and literally break them between my fingers. It's almost like it's made of sugar, literally like sugar. It's the strangest thing. Let you know in a week how you're getting on. Okay, that is great. I think in days gone by, we used to just put paints down the sink, but I think nowadays, being environmentally aware and being responsible for the paints that we're using does require us to be much more proactive in how we clean our brushes and how we dispose of the water from cleaning our brushes, and we try and separate the paint medium from the water so that there's just water that goes down the sink into the water course rather than anything with any lead-based paints in it as well. Skip Velasquez says, I've tried reusing silver stain remnants. It always discolors or refiring, so I stopped using it. Any advice? That's interesting. When you say discolors, I wonder what you mean. It's a very pale tint. I find that it's mostly carrying agent that you scrape off when you try and scrape off what remains of the yellow silver stain. It's mostly the pipe clay. It's that clay residue. But there is a little bit of active ingredient in there, and so I tend to kind of put it into a container and just keep adding it in and adding water to that. And when I have reused it, it's been a very, very pale lemony yellow. So if you're looking for a really pale wash tone, that would be a way forward. But I haven't yet found it to discolor. It may be, I don't know if you're painting this reconstituted stain on float glass, whether you're painting it on the tin side or the non-tin side. That will have an impact. Obviously the tin side of float glass reacts more strongly to the silver nitrate or the silver chloride, which is what silver stain is. It reacts more vigorously than the non-tin side. So maybe experiment and give me a little bit more information in chat as to what the glass was that you were painting on. HM Fan 2010 says, Lord forbid you run out of a discontinued color halfway through a project. I know. Tell me about it. Yeah. So I've been hitting the phones this week, talking to suppliers in the States and talking to suppliers here in the UK, excuse me, to try and secure good supply lines for you, because at the end of the day, when you buy a course, you want to have confidence that you can then buy the enamels yourself. So, rest assured, I will do all the research at my end to make sure that we can recommend a series of colors, transparent colors, which are good and can be used for our enamel courses. The great thing about enamels is that you can mix and match them. You can also combine them with things like yellow silver stain. So for example, a green can be a mixture of blue enamel plus yellow silver stain. You can get some beautiful greens there. So, being adaptive and being creative in the use of our materials is the name of the game in 2025. I always use glycol with silver stain, says Skip Velasquez. I'm not sure if that affects it for reuse. Glycol shouldn't affect the silver stain. The glycol simply is the carrying agent. The two variables in silver stain really are the glass that you're painting onto and the temperature that you're firing your silver stain at, and the duration. I suppose there are three variables: the duration that you're firing it for, the temperature that you're firing it at, and the glass that you're painting it on. The glycol itself is just a carrying agent. It won't really affect the outcome. It just allows you to paint for longer, keeping the paint wet. Kate says, in reply to HM Fan 2010, indeed, that never happens, or you use a discontinued or you use a discontinued textured glass in a piece that then needs matching and then have to spend 2 months trying to recreate it using frit and fusing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we have these problems, don't we, Kate? I mean, whether it's the glass, trying to find the match color of glass, the right texture, the right color, the right thickness of glass, the right paint at the right price. It's fun in games. You know, we're not buying products that you can buy off the shelf at B&Q. We're dealing with a specialist art form, a specialist craft, and it does need specialist paints and specialist brushes. That's the joy of it. And I think that, you know, you have to go into it with that mindset that it is a niche market and that we are specialists in our field. So the paints that we use and the enamels that we use are going to be sometimes harder to source than at other times. Marianne says, I have the same question about rescuing and reusing glycol stain after firing. Yeah, so that's interesting. I'll do some more research to see whether I'm getting discoloration using glycol and silver, using the reconstituted stain. It's important to re-emphasize that it is a very weak compound. When you scrape it off the surface of a fired piece of glass, what you're getting mostly is the carrying agent. So it's a very, very weak formula, and really it does require a bit of judicious experimentation. I don't know that glycol is going to affect the outcome of the silver stain. As I say, it's normally temperature, duration of firing, and the glass material that you're painting on. If it's a float glass, are you using the tin side or the non-tin side? So we're getting to 8 o'clock, my dear colleagues and fellow creatives. Do we have any more questions in the chat before we wrap up tonight? I would love to hear from you. Any questions you have for future live streams, I'm always looking to help you as much as I can in the live stream. Please look out for this being posted on my social media platforms. Probably YouTube is going to be the main one. You can rewatch this live stream again, and hopefully you'll be able to see the chat as well when you do that. Cindy Duff says, hi Derek, I had a strange thing happen while painting on Wismac semi-opaque wispy glass. I was using regular Reusch lead-free paints with gum arabic. And Cindy Duff, don't leave us in suspense. What happened? I had a strange thing happen when painting. What happened? When firing, all of the gloss came off the glass anywhere I didn't have paint. Goodness gracious me. All of the gloss came off the glass where I didn't have paint. So that's a really interesting one. So that might be a form of devitrification. I know that there are different glass types available now, especially from China, some of which don't seem to take the paints particularly well, but you're talking about a Wismach semi-opalescent wispy glass, which is a well-established brand. So I'm not sure why that is happening. It would be interesting to find out, but I've certainly seen posts on social media, particularly on Facebook, of paint and glass not behaving in the way that you'd expect. It's all to do with the chemistry of glass, and as I'm finding putting this new video together on green glass disease, the chemistry of glass is a fascinating topic. The physics of glass is a fascinating topic. The fact that glass is an amorphous solid, it is a liquid held in suspension. I will have to do some more research, as will all of us, and anyone in chat who has anything to add to that, if it has been your experience as well, that on using Wismac semi-opalescent wispy glass, it has decided to devitrify, or the gloss has come off it. On that area, paint wouldn't rub off easily anymore. I had to use wet paper towel to remove it. Yeah, so this is something that I'm not entirely grasping the technical problems that you're having. You're talking about rubbing the paint off with a wet paper towel. Is it because the paint hasn't fired properly? Not sure. Some Wismacs can definitely devitrify when fired. Can they indeed? I don't use Wismac. It's not a range of glass that I use. I tend to use European glasses rather than... is Wismac American? I'm not sure. Maybe Kate, you can tell me the manufacturing origin of Wismac glass. But it's a new one to me. There are various glass types available that I have not tried, and there are new glass types coming on the market all the time that I have not tried. Some of them might be causing issues. The chemical combination of the glass, the chemical constituents within the glass might not react particularly well to paints or to stains. Going to Wismac to go shopping next week, says Magalai. You can never have too much glass. Well, Magalai, could you ask that question about Wismac? You know, is it problematic with paints? Does it devitrify? Who's making Wismac? Can we find out? Because it would be really interesting to know. I've experimented on glass types and never really had a problem where the paint won't adhere to the glass or the glass devitrifies. But I'm well aware that I haven't tried all of the glass available on the market. So yeah, more effort, more energy is needed. Kate is saying West Virginia Wismar. Okay, thank you, Kate. Thank you so much. Kate is doing a fantastic job as a moderator this evening. Do check out Kate's Instagram page. She is North Lakes Stained Glass. North Lakes Stained Glass. Give her a follow. She is at her beginning of our stained glass journey. She worked with me on the TV series Making It Market, and she is now doing great guns, doing exhibition work and selling her work online. So show her some love and give her a follow. Thank you, Kate, so much for being a fantastic moderator extraordinaire this evening. Cindy Duff says Wismac is American, an older company. The issue was that I couldn't remove the paint easily at all. I had to scrub it off. So weird. I appreciate you, Derek. Well, I appreciate you too, Cindy. And thanks for clarifying that. Yeah. So maybe the Wismac is a textured, maybe there's a textured surface. Sometimes textured surfaces are slightly pitted, and so they act as pockets to hold the paint in place. I'm kind of winging it at the moment because I don't have a clear answer to give you. Unsure what that is, why you're getting that issue, but we'll look into it further. Magley says it could be that the glass she used was not fusible. Yeah, perhaps. Again, it's a range of glass that I'm not entirely sure of. So look, chat, we're going to wrap up for tonight. It is now 8:05. Thank you so much for joining us. Please pass this on to fellow creatives if they're interested in glass. Let people know that we're doing a live stream every week, and we'll do this again next week. Cindy says it was pretty smooth. Yeah, the glass surface was pretty smooth. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a puzzler, Cindy. Why the paint should be problematic coming off. We'll look into it a little bit more. Thanks, Derek. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Have a good morning. All of you lovely people in chat. Let me just finally say the top fans for this week in number 1 spot is Kate Lavender. Number 2 is Skip Velasquez. Number 3 is Merlock18026. All channel members. I can look at my top fans list here and all the points that you're accruing. I don't know if you can see that or not, but we're going down the list of top fans for today's live stream. Thank you all so much for joining this live stream. I appreciate you. Sending my love to you all. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week, 7 o'clock on the live stream.